or Proverbs chapter 28, verse 13. Proverbs 28, verse 13. Okay, watch this. It says, he who conceals his sins does not prosper, but whoever confesses and renounces them finds mercy. Alright, now watch this. He who covers his sins will not prosper. In other words, he who always, they sin, but yet they don't want to confess it. They want to continue and hide it and everything like that. This verse right here says, if you conceal it, you will not prosper, or you will not excel. But then it says that whoever confesses and renounces them finds mercy. God knows how to rescue the righteous out of ungodly living. So he said, but the key of finding mercy is you confess it. That means it's up to you to humble yourself. Humility is a choice. It's not something that God forces us to do, but it's something that, we got to make a decision to do on our own. And God said, if the person who humbles himself and confesses it and renounces it, he will find mercy. Because you got to understand, sometimes you will do some things in life and you will fall, and then you ask God to forgive you for it, and you confess it, Lord, I messed up and everything, and yet still you do it all over again. Okay? When it comes to that, God said you will find mercy. Now, watch this. Let's go to Psalm chapter 32, verse 1. Psalm chapter 32, verse 1. Alright, watch this. Psalm 32, verse 1. It says, Blessed is he whose transgressions are forgiven, whose sins are covered. I'm going all the way down to verse 5. Blessed is the man whose sins the Lord does not count against him, and in whose spirit has no deceit. When I kept silent, my bones wasted away through my groaning all day long. For day and night your hand was heavy upon me, my strength was sapped, and as the heat of summer. Then I acknowledged my sin to you, and did not cover up my iniquity. I said, I will confess my transgressions to the Lord, and you forgave the guilt of my sin. Now you see right here, David was talking about how when he didn't confess his sins, when he didn't, confess all the stuff he done wrong, I like what it says, your hand was heavy upon me. In other words, God won't give you any rest. Especially if you're a true child of God, God won't give you any rest unless you really confess and humble yourself and tell the Lord if you need help. And tell God that, you have this issue, you have this bondage, and you're really trying to get rid of this thing. He said, when I didn't do that, your hand was heavy upon me. He said, my strength was cast away. He said, day and night, basically he was talking about I couldn't sleep, I couldn't do anything until, verse 5, I acknowledged my sin to you and did not cover my iniquity. See, when it talks about covering your iniquity, it's almost like sin is like a seed. Whenever you plant the seed and you cover it up, it'll begin to grow. Okay, so that sin stays in your life, in your soil and everything, or in your soul, and once you cover it up, it begins to grow and get bigger, and then one day if you haven't been, when I say not taking care of it, I mean by when you're watering the seed, in other words, keeping it in there and not really doing things to uproot it, it will grow and everything. So you got the water and you got the sunlight that cause it to grow. But sooner or later, if you keep doing that, it'll be too strong for you to handle, and you won't be able to just uproot it in your kind of way. You're going to need some tools or anything to get it out the way. But once the seed is in the ground and it's covered up, in order to kill that seed, the most quickest way is to uncover it and expose it to the sun and let the sun burn it up. Now, he was talking about right here when he covered his sins. In other words, like I was telling you before, when he covered it like that, it began to grow. But he said, when I confessed it and did not cover my iniquity, I said, I'll confess my transgressions to the Lord. You forgave me and the guilt of my sin. See, God will forgive you for your sin and the guilt of your sin, because a lot of times God will forgive you, but you haven't forgiven yourself. This verse right here says he will wipe away the guilt of your sin. Listen to what it says in the Message translator. He said, then I let it out. I said, I will make a clean breast of my failures to God. Suddenly, the pressure was gone. My guilt was dissolved. My sins disappear. Now, I like that because a lot of times we want our sin to be forgiven, but we don't want to pay the price for it to be forgiven. All right? Now, watch this. Let's go back to Proverbs chapter 15. Proverbs chapter 15. All right. Proverbs 15, look at verse 3. Proverbs 15, verse 3. It says, okay, here we go. The eyes of the Lord are everywhere, keeping watch on the wicked and the good. In other words, there's nothing you can do that God don't know about. There's nothing that you have in the closet so much that God doesn't see that. Because the Bible says that, day and night are the same to Him. So you can't do anything without God knowing about it. So He says right here, the eyes of the Lord are everywhere, keeping watch on the wicked and the good. Watch this, the next translation says God doesn't miss a thing. He's alert to good and evil alike. Okay, so your good works are not forgotten by God. God sees that. But your bad works also, God sees that too. Okay? Let's go to Hebrews real quick. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 13. Hebrews 4. Hebrews chapter 4, verse 13. Okay. It says, verse 13, if I can find. Okay, look. Nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight. Everything is uncovered and laid bare before the eyes of Him whom we must give an account. One day you must give an account for everything that you've done on this planet. And in the Hebrews it says nothing in creation, in all the creation, from the beginning of time until now, has been hidden from God's sight. Everything is uncovered and laid bare before Him, to the one that we must give an account to. One day if you don't confess it now, you're going to have to confess it one day up in heaven.